don't know. It's going to take a while to get through the Senate. I think it'll probably be after Thanksgiving.
Would you sign it if it doesn't contain paid family leave?
I will sign it, period.
Build Back Better plan. Is the president going to stop saying that the Build Back Better plan does not increase the deficit 1 single cent if we now know that that is not true?
It is true, and I would note the several economists and experts out there. I think you're probably talking about the CBO score,
which Joe Biden himself in 2010 called the gold standard for Democrats and Republicans.
Well, Peter, since we're all here to communicate with the public about accurate information, what I would just note is that one of the components that experts, Democrats and Republicans, including former heads of the CBO, have pointed to is that IRS enforcement is not something that there's a lot of experience in the CBO scoring. They still scored it, but is undervalued by the assessment of many economists and experts, including people who have been critical of us in the past, who estimate, including former Treasury secretaries of both parties, who estimate there will be significant savings, significantly higher than what is estimated currently. So our assessment and the assessment by many economists out there is that there will be savings over 10 years that will actually reduce the deficit.
The CBO's projection is that it's going to, there's going to be at least a $160 billion increase to the deficit over 10 years. That is 16 trillion cents. So the president was not telling the truth.
Well, Peter, just to go back to the content facts here. So the IRS enforcement component, something recommended by former Secretary Hank Paulson, former Secretary Larry Summers, Democrats and Republicans of both parties who feel there could be significant savings over the course of time. I'm just going to note something that for Trump-appointed IRS Commissioner Charles Rettig said. The administration estimates $400 billion in additional revenue can be generated over the next decade from enforcement efforts focused on higher-end incomes, shrinking the tax gap. This figure is no surprise. Republican former Treasury Secretary Hank Paulson co-wrote an op-ed with other former Treasury secretaries saying that there could be considerably more revenue than we projected from the White House from this. So again, this is an area where experts, economic experts, neither of us are one, I think we can confirm that, have confirmed that there are significant savings that will come from this. That is why moderate members of the House, I think they would tell you, and many of them have spoken to this, including Congressman Kurt Schrader, who is one of the moderates who's on the borderline given deficit impacts, have said is they felt comfortable with it because of the expertise out there about the impact of IRS enforcement.
When the last administration tried to say that the CBO was incorrect, you tweeted, watching Mulvaney try to walk away from a CBO score and explain the budget outline is awkward and uncomfortable to watch. So what is the difference between the Trump administration saying don't listen to the CBO and the Biden administration saying don't
Actually,
listen to the CBO?
we've praised the overall work of the CBO on the Build Back Better Act repeatedly, and that's what we believe. But again, I would point to the fact that there isn't a great deal of history or experience in scoring IRS enforcement. That's something that economists across the board have noted. That's something that leaders on the Hill, Democrats and Republicans, have been briefed on for several months now, and that's why it wasn't really a surprise to them and why the vote in part moved forward. Go ahead, Kristen.
Hey everyone, it's Josh. Huge week here in Washington. 2 Grand Slam home runs. First, on Monday, I was at the White House. We signed into law the bipartisan infrastructure bill. Once in a century, physical infrastructure helping our roads, our bridges, our rails, helping build the Gateway Tunnel, taking care of making sure that our water is clean to drink for our children, broadband for our unconnected areas of northern New Jersey, and most importantly, if you drive around and you hit those potholes, and we have the 3rd worst roads in the country in Jersey, and a third of our bridges are unsafe. People are stuck waiting outside, so frustrated waiting outside going to New York City, on the train, outside Secaucus. These investments are going to help, not just by making your life better, by, of course, creating jobs as well for Jersey. So 2 million jobs a year nationwide for the next 10 years, and, of course, making that commute better so you get home at night, see your kids, get to work in the morning. Also, just a few minutes ago, we passed here one of the big things that I've been working on for years now, tax cuts for hardworking Jersey families, by reinstating the state and local tax deduction or SALT. We know what that is. We know in 2017 what the moocher states did to us by capping out SALT deduction. Now it'll be reinstated, finally giving tax cuts to Jersey. The tax cuts you deserve to make life more affordable. It's not becoming. It also includes help for childcare and pre-K and cleaning our drinking water up and fighting climate change and making prescription drugs more affordable. Lots of things that are great for us in fighting for Jersey. And also this week we passed legislation helping our veterans, both for mental health, our women veterans, women's health care, so much to help get the backs of those who get ours every single day. So I just want to say thank you to you. I'll see you back in the district. If I don't see you before Thanksgiving, have a wonderful Thanksgiving with your family. I'll be out and about. I hope to see you. But thank you so much. God bless.
Never in American history has so much been spent at one time. At one time. Never in American history will so many taxes be raised and so much borrowing be needed to pay for all this reckless spending. So you're hiring the 87,000 IRS agents to go after that poor husband and wife working so hard, making 75,000. The effect of this heat your home tax would increase family heating bills by as much as $242 per year. How much less is their paycheck worth because of inflation? It's not just this. As many as 90,000 jobs could be lost as a result. Democrats told us what they want to do is to spy on every American bank account, spending as little as $28 a day. That's less than $200 a week. From bank surveillance to bailout, this bill takes the problems President Biden and Democrats have already created and makes them much, much worse.
There's a big difference between Democrats and Republicans. We fight for the people, they fight for the privileged few. We will pass the Build Back Better Act. They passed the GOP tax scam, where 83% of the benefits went to the wealthiest 1% so they could subsidize the lifestyles of the rich and shameless. A big difference between Democrats and Republicans. The Build Back Better Act will invest in the creation of millions of good-paying jobs, cut taxes for working families, and lower child care costs, housing costs, education costs, and drive down the high cost of life-saving prescription drugs. The Build Back Better Act will invest in a green economy, a sustainable economy, a resilient economy, and lower energy costs for everyday Americans. The Build Back Better Act will create an economy that works for every single American, creating opportunity and prosperity in every single zip code. Thank you, President Biden, for your extraordinary leadership. Democrats don't talk about it, we are about it. And because we are going to build back better for the people here in America, the best is yet